Hi, and welcome to this video. My name is Debbie Clement-Large. I'm a creative life coach. I'm a Heal Your Life teacher, and I am so pleased to be joined today by French GP Val Gubert. And I am so looking forward to this conversation. And we're going to be talking today about, do our thoughts really affect our health? So Val, thank you so much for joining me today. This is really exciting.
Welcome, Debbie. That's perfect. It's okay. I'm so pleased, so grateful to have you in my life too.
And we've done some wonderful training together, and of course, as your medical background, and it would just like, and I see it as a coach, how people's resentment and people's anger and even people around me, how things have affected their health. And I think in the most part, people don't realize just how much our thoughts affect our health. How do you experience it from your point of view?
Well, I really think that all our thoughts are affecting everything in our lives. So why shouldn't it be the same for our health? That's for sure. And I will also add that it's really, we create disease with negative thoughts, with the way we think, that's for sure. I can tell you now that some recent researchers have shown that most of our thoughts, probably around 70% of our thoughts are actually negative and very repetitive. So we cannot catch everything, but for sure, if we have negative thoughts, it will impact our health and our well-being. That's an evidence, I think, for everybody now. And on the contrary, I think you just have to think about one very simple thing is, if you think about the placebo effect, for instance, when you have positive thoughts, you think that a therapy or medication is going to cure you. Well, it can cure you because you just think it's going to cure you. That's all. And we use in France what we call homeopathy. And I think in French doctors, we are leaders using this kind of very small pills. Have you ever seen that? Homeopathy?
Yeah, I've used them. Yeah.
Yes, of course. And some people say it's placebo effect, but I would like to say that what the most important is really the aim of something. It's not the way you go to Rome, it's to arrive to Roma. Any path you take will lead you to somewhere. Especially in health domain or field, for instance. If you think positive, you will add a lot of things positive in your life, and also when you suffer from a disease, that's sure. And I am facing all these because I'm practicing as a medicine doctor for more than 25 years now, and I can see the different effects on people when you prescribe something, anything. It can be helpful or not helpful. It's just depending on the way the people catch it. That's all.
Right.
And if you explain things when you make a prescription, and you explain that it will for sure help them, then they go back home with this little hope, and they get better. It's that simple.
It's really interesting because you're right, the placebo effect. And just thinking about it in my own terms, many years ago I had an accident and I hurt my lower back. And now there isn't one single cell of my body that remains from that time all those years ago. And yet the memory of it can come up and it's interesting where it's around my lower back, because whenever I feel like I'm not being supported in some way, my back
Absolutely
can start then and I think, it's always around the same time when I don't feel supported in any way, whether it's family wise or job, my work wise or something or other, and I feel a bit let down, or my back can start playing up, and I can sit, and then I'll do some work through it, and then it goes away, and I don't get it again until I let myself feel in that position again. So it's really, and I'm so consciously aware of that's what's happening.
That's sure.
Yeah.
And I can talk about myself, my own experience, if you please, because it's very, very personal. But I suffer from a disease which is a polyarthritis. It's a severe disease. It's very painful. Every joints are painful and so on. So I was under chemotherapy for more than 1 year, and it couldn't help in any way. And when I began to make positive affirmations every day, every morning, writing them down and saying these all day long, then I stopped any kind of medication because my joints were better and better every day. Maybe because I was only taking care of them in a different way, which was very positive. So if you repeat day after day positive affirmations, and you be gentle, you just have to be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
Then you can face kind of miracles. It's kind of miracle. To me, it was really because I was programmed by my colleagues not to walk again, and now I can dance and can walk. Wow. I can run, and I stopped everything. So this probably was so helpful that now I can only share that with most of my patients. That's why I'm more open, because we need to tell people that the way you think is really creating the way the life you live, and the way you are able or not to be responsible of your life. That's all.
Yeah.
You can always find a positive solution to any kind of problem.
Yeah.
Even talking about our health, and that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think what's the important thing is we hear a lot about affirmations, and they are incredibly powerful, but actually we've got to realize,
especially from my colleagues, but I'm always stunned when I hear all the other doctors can make severe diagnosis to people, and what they do in that way, I think, not everyone, but most of them, they take hope. That's all. I mean, they do not give any kind of hope to people treating them like that. If you are positive because you as a GP or you as any kind of doctor are convinced you can help people and that you will help them, that's most of the job.
Yeah.
Probably 80% of the therapy is within the way you talk to people and the way you help them only with words. So thoughts or words. That's all.
And people will pick up on that. Yes, if I was a patient coming in to see you, then I would pick up on your energy. And if you were feeling positive, and if you were in the space where you felt like you could really help me, I would pick up that subconsciously.
Absolutely, because you come back home with this kind of hope. Well, somebody believes in me that I am able to do it. So I'm going to do it.
But the most powerful thing is yourself. And you're right, because if you can help people to believe that they can do something positive by using things like affirmations, but not just realizing that an affirmation is something that you say maybe 50 or 100 times a day, but that everything you think is an affirmation.
Absolutely. Everything you think.
And you were absolutely right, because you said about 70% of our thinking is negative and repetitive. And actually, we've got to tip that balance and get it more than 50% positive. And especially if it's to do with our health. You know, if something isn't quite right, you've got to think about not what you've got wrong, but what is it you want?
Absolutely.
How do you want to see yourself?
You're the only creator of the way your life is going to turn. In a way, I am used to tell them, you're the scenarist of the film you're living in. So write the right film for you, for yourself. Don't listen to the others. Just keep confidence in what you believe, what you feel inside. And I do support you, and it's okay. And if you use positive affirmation, it's very, very important to me, because if you repeat them day after day, there is one day you believe them. And once you believe them, you feel them. And once you feel them, they become true.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's moving it into believing. So when you first start saying them and you think, I've got a pain in my ankle or whatever, and you might think, you know, I'm in perfect health. Your bit of your brain will be saying, no, I'm not, because my ankle's hurting. But then the more you say, my body functions perfectly, or I'm in perfect health, or whatever it is that you want to say, the more you start, like you say, moving towards that, and the more you start believing it, and the more you start feeling it. But it's a gradual, slow process. It doesn't happen the first day you start saying it. And you've got to believe, and you've got to feel and see yourself as healing and whole, and having that, you know, you are your own healer to a vast degree. I know we have medicines that help.
Of course, we have medicine that helps. That's for sure. But it's also very interesting concerning the side effects of the products. For instance, you have some people who will never have side effects of a medication because they do not read the paper in the box, you know?
Yeah.
So everything is okay. If you speak about, I mean, traditional medicine as we can practice, for instance, but it's only I'm always challenged when I look at my patient, because I always wondered why so many patients have very, very long of list of severe disease, and why do not people who think differently, who are more positive, then I never see them, or it's very time to time, that's all. So it's only a question of mind, that for sure, and the way you think is really creating the brain, that's for sure.
And that
And
goes.
the very good news of all is that you can change all this. If you're stuck in a negative way of thinking, you can always find something and a way to change things.
Yes, and it all starts with being willing to.
It only begins with a little, very little thought. For me, it was only to repeat day after day that my body was perfect, my body was okay, was not painful, and so on. And I was sending love to my joints mentally. Here I am. That's all. Our daily behavior acts on the expression of our illnesses or not. It's not only a question of genetics, it's a question of what we call as doctors epigenetics, which is the way we live, what we believe, it's not only the explanation of some genes who are expressing themselves or not. It's only a kind of expression, which is, it's like, I don't know how to say that, the expression of the genes are really depending on the way we live and what we think. That's what we call in medicine epigenetic. It's much more important.
And Bruce Lipton has done a lot of work around epigenetics, and actually to say that we can change our DNA, and we change our cell behavior by our thoughts. So just because somebody in our family has, maybe there's been some instances of, say, heart disease, doesn't mean to say you've got to get the thought that you're going to get it too.
Yes, I just have a very interesting image that I give to my patients most of the time, because, you know, especially when you talk about breast cancer, for example, most of my female patients say, oh, my mother died of a breast cancer, so I'm going to have one too. I say, okay, no. Imagine your genes are only colored pencil in your box, but the colored pencil do not make the drawing you are doing. So if you put right things around you and you can use your colored pencils with our genes, they can express in very, very different ways. And it's not necessary that you make the drawing of a breast cancer, even if you've got the right pencils. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it in English. I'm sorry.
Just because you can be maybe more prone to it.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean to say that actually your body's going to develop it. But if you think that you are or you have that belief that could happen, that will happen to you because it's happened to other people in your family, you're already instructing your cells to behave in a certain way, which makes you more likely to get it.
It's because probably there is a strong link between our emotions and our hormonal system. So we can balance the things, and probably this little ending, the caps of DNA, which are called telomeres, they move or not.
Yes.
They move or not, that's all. So if we change the hormonal system, we can balance more with some of our positive emotions. Then you have an action of these telomeres, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely. And it stops the DNA unwinding, doesn't it? Fraying at the ends and repeating, which is something in terms that helps us to... Is this something about helping you to live longer as well, if you have more telomeres?
Yes, absolutely. It's a question of... well, living longer is not very interesting if you're healed. That's sure. So, but living longer is a dream to people, but you have to realize in which condition it's going to be. And that's not uncommon to see nowadays. The people who live the longer are the happiest people. The people were probably who have friends, who live in a beloved family, who are doing interesting things in their lives, and who are what I call nurturing their souls. That's why they live longer most of the time.
And actually, I know we're sort of coming to an end now, but it's interesting. I saw somewhere, I think Louise Hay said it, that actually you can see people's thoughts etched on their faces as you get older. You can see if somebody's been happy, or seen if someone has had lots of negative and, putting themselves down a lot. It actually shows on your face. Absolutely.
It depends on the wrinkles.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And somebody who is very joyous will have wrinkles here because they're laughing all the time. And people who are very sad, they've got this bitterness way of looking, So you can have an idea of what people lived just having a look on them. That's for sure.
Wow. So I just thank you so much for talking to us today about our health and our thoughts, and why and just showing that actually your own experiences of turning your own health problem around just by the power of your thinking is a wonderful, wonderful testament that we can all do that.
Yes.
We have that power within us to be able to affect our own healing. So thank you so much, Val. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been
You're welcome.
conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Debbie.
thank you for listening. And I hope you join me again soon. Take care.